2025. I don't have it. 2025, and it's 6:30 on the head, and we're gonna start the meeting. Joe, would you start the roll call?
Johnner here.
Reyes here.
Jones here.
Church here.
Leonard here.
All right. For the Pledge of Allegiance, I think maybe we take a few seconds or minutes to recognize the flood victims in Texas. I mean, that was a pretty devastating thing, so let's just take a few minutes or a few seconds. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have our first new meeting agenda with the consent agenda, and so we're going to need a motion to approve the agenda
Joe.
as presented.
Sorry, number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, did I miss something? I'm sorry.
Well, he's on number 3.
He's on number 3.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So then we're on to 4. That's why I put it in a folder, so I can't get screwed up. Certification of compliance of open meeting law. Clerk Buchanan, would you please confirm that the town has followed the requirements of the open meeting law for public notifications?
Yes, we are.
All right, now we're coming to the consent agenda. A couple of things I want to point out is I did present my edits to Jean on her desk. Everybody else should be trying to do the same thing. And the consent agenda, let me just go back. So a consent agenda groups routine meeting discussion points into a single agenda item. In so doing, the grouped items can be approved in one action rather than through the filing of multiple motions. So just for everybody's benefit, that's what we're going to move forward with now. So you have a motion to approve the agenda. Did we have a second?
Maybe recognize.
Yes.
The edits, if they were on the minutes, if it's anything other than grammatical, perhaps they should be taken out of the consent agenda until all of the edits are approved
Oh,
by the board.
mine were grammatical.
Okay, then I don't think there would be an
Anybody
issue.
else have more than grammatical?
And I adjusted any for the regular town board minutes that I received ahead of time by the deadline. They were adjusted for what's in the packet.
Okay,
So we had a motion by Supervisor Reyes.
Well, that was the actual.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the motion carries. So, clerk treasurer report.
Treasury report for June 2025. Total receipts for our general checking account were $25,802.61. Transfers for June were $655,298.50. Interest earned was $386.43. Balance as of May 31st was $27,457.69. Total funds for June were $708,945.23. Checks paid in June were $701,514.18, with the balance in the general checking of $7,431.05. Boat launch to date is $27,727.50.
So, do you have any questions by anybody? Do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the treasurer's report is approved. So now we come to public comments. Please be advised that per state statute 19.84 sub 2, information may be received from the public. Comments are limited to 4-minute period per person. Be further advised that there will be no discussion on the information received and no action will be taken regarding public comments. Upon conclusion of this citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they are participating in a public hearing or if specifically allowed by a majority vote of the town board due to involvement in a specific agenda item. And then specifically for tonight and probably moving forward, no public comments will be taken tonight on the topic of wake enhanced voting, as we have heard from the public at several 2025 board meetings. The purpose for this limitation is to ensure all wake vote comments are heard at an upcoming public hearing dedicated to this topic alone, which will be scheduled at some time in the near future per the board's discretion. What I would like to point out is anyone is always allowed to send in an email or something to the board members. You can always do that at any time. It's just comments here at the board meeting. So, do we have any public comments? You have to state your name and address.
Okay. My name is Amanda Husanica. My address is 2822 Lakeview Drive. I'm here.
Spell your last name, please.
Sure. Huseonica.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here to raise a concern that I believe affects many community members, and that's the lack of availability for public shore fishing on Lake Beulah. I have an 11-year-old son who absolutely loves to fish. We live not far from the Wilmer's Point boat launch, public boat launch. And he's tried to fish there a few times. Fortunately, has been told he can't fish there. The reason being me coming here is that I feel like Lake Beulah is intended to be shared by everyone, not just people who live on the lake, who own a boat, or can rent a boat. There's not a lot of places for young individuals to fish in East Troy in general. So I just am respectfully urging the board to explore options to kind of improve the availability for young individuals and people without boats or the option to live on a lake to be able to use it for that purpose. So,
Thank you.
Sherry Greeley, N9481 Island Drive. I'm just here to voice some concerns about the policing on Lake Beulah, especially on the 4th of July weekend. We live on part of the lake where we have availability to see Mill Pond and the Lake Beulah proper location. And I just want to read you a few things that we noticed. And what was surprising is, considering that we were on the lake most of that entire weekend, I did not see much of a police presence. And I do understand that there is some pecking order, that the DNR, that whatever. I guess I'm surprised that there isn't more of collaboration between all three of those entities going on. There are other lakes that do have certain things. You know, they have designated people that patrol. They even train people to do the patrolling. And this just doesn't seem to be happening. And I know I'm not supposed to be talking about wake boat things, but if one of the things is education, if some of the basic rules can't be followed for everything else, how can we expect any of these rules to be taken into account? Just wanted to share. So where we live, we are very close to the B'nai camp, or the Jewish camp, and lots of people congregate in that area. Don't have a problem with that. But there's a whole bunch of swimmers, and they cross the channel. And people need to get through the channel to go back and forth, and they may not always see a person swimming there. I know there's more buoys there now, but it's still being abused. In addition, we noticed a boat that had in excess of 20 to 25 people being shuttled from one shoreline to the other. Again, the size of the boat, probably not in question. I know some of the wake boats do hold 18, 20 people, but do they have life jackets? That was another major concern, and what I noticed is, I think it was the 4th of July, there was a storm coming up, and I cannot believe, and I do have video of them packing these people onto this boat and shuttling them across the lake. They couldn't fit everybody on it. So there were 5 or 6 remaining people still on the shore. Is that okay? I don't really know. But to me, it just seemed like, and plus you then go into how many of the people were drinking. Were the people who are driving the boats drinking? So we also noticed on both 4th of July and then on the following Saturday, not just one, not just two, but multiple people speeding, water skiing after 6. No reinforcement whatsoever. We also noticed people producing a wake inside the buoy markers. We noticed water skiing with only one driver in the boat. I noticed a person on the back of a pontoon with a rope towing a person within 5 feet of the propeller, just hand towing that person. I don't know if that's illegal or not, but it seemed quite dangerous. Again, we noticed intoxicated boaters. And then the last one is the whole noise ordinance enforcement. Where we live, obviously sound carries, we put up with an awful lot. But when you have 5 or 6 different boats blasting music of all different genres, it gets a little aggravating. And I know there is a policy on place, but if there's no way to enforce it, why even bother having the policy? So these things, and I'm not the type of person to complain about every little thing, but what bothers me is we did call and report these. The sheriff answered because it was after hours. The sheriff then says, I will put you in touch with an officer. So about 45 minutes later, that officer calls me and says, well, I don't know what you want me to do about it. We're very busy, and it's probably too late now anyway. I can't get close enough to these boats to take numbers, but what are we supposed to do? And in my opinion, yes, the DNR is responsible for some of this, but we pay taxes for policing, and we should be able to get policing at any time. There should be somebody that we can call and report when there's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Todd Jones, W2280 West Bay Road. I'd like to bring to the board's attention and to the public awareness a deeply troubling incident that occurred yesterday involving my family on the lake. While my son and I were out wake surfing responsibly and legally, we were followed by a boat carrying several of the PLB board members. During this time, they chose to tape us without our consent, including video footage of my minor child. Despite the fact that we were in full compliance with safety and boating regulations, this group engaged in behavior that was not only intrusive, but clearly crossed the line into harassment. We all understand the ongoing community discussion regarding wake boats. However, this incident elevates the issue to an entirely new and unacceptable level. Harassing fellow residents on the lake and videotaping a child without parental consent is both inappropriate and alarming. I am appalled that what should have been a peaceful and enjoyable family outing was disrupted by such a disrespectful, hostile behavior. Lake Beulah is a shared resource, and all families and individuals deserve the right to enjoy it safely and without fear of intimidation. We are filing a formal complaint and contacting law enforcement to address what we believe to be serious violation of privacy and a form of harassment. I urge the town board to take this matter seriously and to consider how actions like this impact the well-being, trust, and sense of community amongst our neighbors. So that was something that happened to me yesterday. I also wanted to address what we're doing with the buoy situation. So we have gotten approved all the buoys we got through the DNR. So we have 93 buoys that have been approved throughout the lake. We're asking residents also to either do one of three things. Either they can donate their buoys to us, remove their buoys, or they can actually have their buoys permitted as well. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get all the buoys aligned properly. So one's not real far out, one's not far in, so it's arranged in a way that it will help everybody out and make everybody's policing, everything else a lot easier to control. So, including those, we do have some channel guide buoys that are going in. Those buoys should be in the next, they're thinking the next week, but what's gonna happen is we have to set all those buoys up. And all those buoys have GPS locations that we have to put them in the proper spots. The process of actually getting them through the DNR went a lot quicker than we ever would have thought, which is great, because that means we're gonna set the buoys out, and if one they don't make sense where they are, it's gonna be easier for us to move them wherever it does make sense. So on average, buoys are gonna be 200 feet offshore, and then 500 feet in between the buoys on average. And there's some areas that there's gonna be channels that buoys are gonna be close together, that we've moved them a little bit further apart just to make it so it's more navigable. Yeah, that's about all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Seconds to spare.
Good evening. My name's Thad Seymour. I'm, my wife Katie and I live at W1075 Spruce-Scone Road, which is on Potter Lake. We moved just a couple of years ago, and one of the reasons we moved here was we were thrilled to see the active district that was caring about the safety of the lake and the quality of the lake. And so somehow, raising my hand, I got involved and recently joined the district board as the East Troy representative. I wanted to acknowledge a couple of things. We appreciate the letter with great guidance on things we can be working on now while we continue to wrestle with the bigger issues. Good news is a number of those things Potter Lake already had underway. We've got a lot of riprap around. Private owners have taken care of that. We have a successful Clean Boats, Clean Waters program that has been around for many years. And I also want to speak to buoys, and we should share as much information as possible. So we've actually had buoys, my understanding is since the 1980s on the lake. We today have, each year it varies slightly, but between 30 and 34 buoys that are placed out. We contract their placement out. Costs us about $1,100 to put them in, $1,100 to take them out. We store them, refurbish them if we have to replace them. They're $159 each. My observation in a couple of years on the lake is people really appreciate and respect them. They're all placed at about 200 feet out. My wife has described it as sort of having a bike lane on the lake. That people, it encourages more safety, it isolates more active use from more passive use. And I think it's something that has really worked well. The one thing we haven't done to date is had them permitted. We just haven't when they've been out there. The board is considering that, and it's good to hear that it went so smoothly, and I think that will encourage us to move that along as quickly as possible. Because I don't think there's any real downside to it. But overall, I think we're really happy with it, and encourage that Beulah is doing the same thing. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Is this right? I should go.
Sure, you can. Sorry, I'll get you next.
John Machosik, 2043 Honey Creek Road. I don't know, I talked to Joe a month or so ago. I don't know how much the rest of the town board knows about it, but the village is planning on putting a 10-foot asphalt sidewalk or trail through our 3 front yards, and if you don't know, that section is like an island. There's 3 houses that are township, and there's one on the other side of township. And everything around us is village. So I guess what I was getting at was to bring it to you guys' attention, see if there's some way we can get it to leave them on village property and not go through township, or if there's something else that we can work out, I guess, I don't know. But, like I said, you said you're having a meeting with them tomorrow, so.
I haven't received any documentation on what the final trail is. When we do, I would like to have a conversation with you guys to talk through it, so.
So I don't know if any of you guys haven't seen it, I got a map of it here.
You get information? I think I passed along quite a bit of information to the guys, but there, you can pass it around. Thank you for coming in, I appreciate it. I will be in touch. Go ahead, Tom.
Tom Van Bogart, W 2035 Beulah Heights Road. I apologize for what had happened. I'm going to give you the full explanation. We all know that there was an article that was published on Sunday in the Milwaukee Journal. At 11 o'clock, I got a phone call from a journalist from the Wall Street Journal who said that he had heard that Protect Lake Beulah had been doing some testing. He wanted to understand what that was and better understand the wake boating on Lake Beulah. So he asked if we would take him out and show him the lake, and that's what we did. Protect Lake Beulah does not take pictures or images of wake boats out on the lake, and it was no one from our organization that took that video. If it was taken by the journalist, and I will call him personally and tell him not to use that footage in his article. Again, for him it was an educational, wanting to learn about what is happening here on Lake Beulah. So that is fully what had happened. That's the explanation. And if you have any further questions, you can contact me and I'll be happy to share it.
Sorry.
Brian Fonz, and 8680 Wilmers Grove Road, and I was just going to follow up on what Tom was saying. I want to address what happened yesterday, and what Tom explained is what happened. We had a journalist on the boat, and the journalists do what they do. They interview us, they take pictures, and no one from PLB would do that, and didn't do that. And I think Tom said he will call and do that, so just wanted to clarify that. No, we would never do that. And the journalist clearly was interested in, Lake Beulah, and we took him out for a ride, and that's basically, how this all came down. So, but I just want to clarify with you, okay, just to make sure that, that wouldn't be us. Thank you. It was on my boat, and I was driving, and all of a sudden he was taking pictures, and I was watching where I was going, and like I said, journalists do what journalists do. I think Tom will reach out to him and just say, he interviewed us extensively. I'm assuming he probably went out to interview, other folks with wake boats. I'm not sure, I don't know if he did or not, but that's a situation where we would not do that. My phone was never touched or picked up. I would never do that. All right. Thank you.
John.
I'd like to bring up, North 8831 Stearns Bridge Road. I'd like to bring a few things, just up for discussion. I'm not here to bash the police department. I'm just here to give some observations and hope that with what I share with you, we could maybe get an agenda item where we can find some more funding for the police. I don't find fault in the police, because if you don't have money in the budget, you can't put a body on the boat. But I know in years gone past, when we had our own officers that worked their regular shift and it landed on a boat patrol day, we never had issues with keeping the boat stocked and going. I understand they would end up out there probably a lot of times at overtime. pay the guys. Let them eat, let them do what they gotta do, but we need to protect the lake. Now, on the July 4th weekend, I was out there, and I was overtaken. I was just cruising around 2 or 3 miles an hour, just putting, listening to the radio, looking around, and I was overtaken 6 or 7 times by a boat within 20 to 50 feet from me. And these people that are operating these boats, a lot of them don't realize that when you go a third throttle, you're in a bow-up fashion, you're just making all kind of waves of havoc. If you jump up on plane, you don't make a big wake, or if you go slow, you don't make a big wake. So I'm hoping that we can get some funding for the police somewhere. I don't care where it comes from, but just get some bodies out there and let's get control of our lake. Because I was also out on the lake yesterday, and I was out till about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm putting along, me and a few people on the boat, and I have 4 pictures on my phone that are date stamped and timed, and this particular one here was 7:20, or July 13, 2025, 7:12 p.m., and you can see this guy's rooster tailing right across the lake. Yeah, and then the next one I took, I was like, this is out of control up here. We gotta document it, we gotta come to the board and ask you guys to find some money. You know, I've been in a lot of these meetings, and I remember Kim mentioning one time that the town's got $60 million worth of borrowing power. Well, let's get some money somewhere and get the cops to patrol the lake. So that's all I'm saying. And if anyone wants to see these pictures, I'm more than happy to share them with them.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Now that funding is being brought up, again, I'm going to emphasize this. I don't think people realize that our lake management district. Oh, Carla Georgie, Giorgi, North 8590 Sterners Bridge Road. Talking about funding, people have to again, I think, be reminded that our lake management district has spent money on suing the town board, and also now they're going to sue the county for getting rezoned Fred's Tap, and also, not Fred's, across the street, and also for conditional use. All that money that they've wasted, and I could be wrong, but I believe they've sued over the years at least 8 times, and maybe I think they won one very small little thing. So all that money that they are wasting, they could make an effort and use that to support our police force in making our lakes safe. And I was out on the 5th. I've been out here for 25 years, and like you, it was crazy. And again, last night, these speedboats, it was at least an hour past no wake, and they were just flying across the lake. That was a lot of money they missed on tickets, and that again could fund them because of all the tickets they could have written for the safety purposes. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Thanks for everybody's comments. So the first up is the Department of Public Works.
Everybody see my report for June? Any questions? Otherwise, we'll move right on to working on the windows for the town hall here. Me and Tyson been.
What's the torch? What are we torching? Stop bars?
Yeah.
In the
It's
road?
Multiple plastic, basically.
In the road?
Mm-hmm. Embedded down in the road.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And do they come out in the winter?
No. They're permanent.
So you don't plow them off or anything?
They're actually recessed in the pavement.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a free double, so I was gonna take it. So. But me and Ty have been collaborating and trying to work on getting the window stuff together. We don't have anything for tonight. Hopefully within the next couple weeks, we can finalize dimensions, style, material, and I talked with a couple of the companies that we got some quotes on, and they were more than welcome to come in, meet with us, bring examples in, and talk to us directly, so we're all be on the same page when it comes to getting a competitive quote on all of them.
Did you ever get a hold of Lynch today? Did they ever call you back?
Yep, I tried getting a hold of Tim Lynch, with the deluge of rain that we received on Friday. I received a couple pictures from some people that live on the channel. We lost another big chunk of that head wall.
In Beulah Heights?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Mother Nature has not been kind to us. Every time it rains, we get 2 inches at a time, it seems. So I wanted to put a bug in his ear to get things rolling. And I know part of it's on tonight. It's what we gotta do with the DNR to get permits and stuff, yes.
Are we gonna be able to present to the citizens on that? Just to see where we're at in field discussions?
Yeah, I called Tim, I left him a message that we would like everybody, the citizens, to have a chance to meet with them and bring any of their questions to them.
And I know we have to notice the meeting.
We should.
Yep.
So we'll do that.
Once I hear from him or Dan Meyer, because Tim's the lead engineer, Dan's the designer. So
It's just a courtesy
Yep.
to all those residents. They wanna also look at dredging. We had Beach Road also, the culvert. I had a call from someone in May, and they're gonna look at some dredging. So I'm trying to hook them all up so they can talk about it and hopefully team.
Yeah.
Don't we have to have this at our next meeting?
What's that? Yeah. I mean,
Because it should be the August meeting, right? Because September, the work should start, I think.
Oh, the work starts September?
Yeah, they wanna
That's what we're
start
supposed
sometime
to.
after Labor Day.
So we gotta do it at our August meeting.
Yeah, once I hear back from them, to try and schedule a public meeting date with them, so people that live there or anybody else has questions
Oh,
can come to that.
we have to get.
I just think it's a courtesy.
Yeah.
60 days.
Well, I know that they got a lot of
Yeah, I've heard from plenty of people
So,
that
yeah,
have a lot of
we're-
questions about that, it's gonna be that whole project size, length of time. But it's not a quick, easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
Especially, I know, having to get permits and,
It's not noticed.
and,
Can't talk about it.
yeah.
It's not noticed.
yeah,
Oh, the discussion?
yeah,
Nope, you didn't notice it,
yeah.
so.
I didn't.
That's all I got.
Thanks.
I know it's getting,
Thank you.
Jim's got something on that, so.
Thank you for the time on the windows and stuff too.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
Thanks for working on that.
police chief.
I'll start with the pier permits. The first one that I got was for N9573 Horseshoe Lane. Reviewed the drawing and then went out to the house and did a site visit. And I recommend that the board approve as it was drawn up and presented. And then the second one was on Shorewood.
Do we want to take them one at a time?
Sure, if you want to take them one at a time,
That's fine.
happy to do so.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the pier permit for Brian and Barbara Kuvak. My bad, I'm sorry. At N9573 Horseshoe Lane.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the second one was at W 862 Shorewood. I did not do a site visit. Based on the information that I was given, it just looks like they are putting in a permanent pier on the same footprint of the pier that they currently have. And so I will also recommend that pier permit be approved.
I'll make a motion that we approve the pier permit for Rick Witt at W 862 Shorewood Drive.
Second.
Ottersville.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just real quick before I get into the numbers, hearing all the comments, I wanted to let the public know, we've been in discussions about these issues before tonight. Your complaints, emails, scuttlebutt, rumors have not gone unheard by myself, Mr. Jones, Mr. Stacy, the Lake Beulah Management District. We've met, we've had a couple meetings, brainstorming on how to support that lake and make sure it stays safe. I know in one of the records that I got, they talked about the lakes all around us and all the tragedies that have occurred this year. And thankfully, we have not had one of those. And that is not something we want to see happen. So it's not being not addressed, it's not being ignored. We're just trying to come up with the best solution other than just trying to find a pot of money and throw it at it. Because if you don't have a plan, you can throw money at it and you're just putting money down the drain. So we want something that makes common sense and is going to work for not only the town, but also the town residents and the visitors. And unfortunately, on the 4th of July, every lake in Walworth County is submerged with boats from not in this area. And we're not allowed to stop people from launching a boat. So if you come down to Wilmer's Landing and the parking lot is full and you have an alternate place to park your vehicle, we could line up cars from here to Elkhorn, and the DNR does not allow us to stop boats from launching. If every person says, I have an alternate place to park, we have to allow them to launch according to the DNR rules. And so your lakes get overwhelmed, because I'm happy if I have, my buddy is driving his boat up from Illinois, pontoon boat, we can go to the lake, I'll take the car, we'll drive it back, I got a buddy over here, over there, they'll let me park in their driveway, we'll hop on the boat, and that's what's going on. So just to let you know, we're aware, and we're doing what we can, so it's not going unnoticed or ignored. And the other public comment, it's troubling. I heard your public comment, and the problem that befalls upon me when I was at the sheriff's office and here now is, if you're in a public area, you can video whatever you want to. I can stand out in the middle of the street and I can videotape your homes, the activities, as long as I'm in a public right of way. There's nothing law enforcement can do to stop it. And I understand the concern. I had little kids. I had things like that happen at my different residence. It is disconcerting. It is upsetting as a parent. But from a law enforcement standpoint, until they do something overt or go onto private property where they can't be filming and video recording from public property, unfortunately, is America. We're allowed to do it. And I know that that hurts us sometimes, and sometimes it helps us. So I just wanted to let you know, I understand as a parent, I get it, and I feel I'd probably be in the same shoes of being a little terse in that situation. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your comments, and we're always open.
We've heard from the public. Mr. Stoss had pictures, the Rileys couldn't see the boat numbers. Is there anything that the public can do that would assist you guys in policing the lake? I mean, from a resident perspective or another boater perspective, what is the procedure you'd like us to follow?
Absolutely. If you can get the numbers off the boat, and you have pictures, like John apparently has a picture of the Roost Trail, I'm not doubting it, I didn't walk up and look at it, and we can see the numbers on the boat, so we have a avenue of investigation to follow up. We certainly would be looking into that and doing that. So that's a good start, and I know somebody else has approached me about a form that they're gonna do online that'll be emailed to me, giving me the date, the time, type of incident that happened. If they have the registration numbers, then we can have something to follow up on. Then there's not a whole lot we can do, unfortunately. And some of those cameras are really good. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, John talked about last night on the lake. I'm making an assumption here, and I know what happens when you assume. I bet those people live on the lake. So the people that were violating the law last night, when you go to Wilmer's Landing, that place is a ghost town coming this time of day. I'm gonna say 90% of a chance that that boat was somebody on the lake. And that's the problem, is the people that are on the lake, not everybody has the same concerns that you folks do that are here year-round and love this area. Some people are only here for one weekend out of the summer, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And then we won't see them again for another 9 or 10 months. And those are the people that we really need to reach, are that lend their house out, lend their boats out, that don't understand the rules of the lake, and educate those nice people that, hey, you can't be doing this. But I'm guessing that boat didn't get launched. I'm guessing that boat was a lake boat. 4 of them? Okay. That's highly unusual for a weeknight. And so, oh, it was Sunday, okay. I'm a day ahead, I'm thinking it's Tuesday for whatever reason, but I have heard you, and we're looking at doing something to fix the problem, but that fix isn't gonna happen this coming weekend. I can guarantee that, unless the board's gonna do something tonight that I'm not aware of.
Not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda, so.
Sorry.
But for the month, through the January of this year, we did have, or have had, 4,862 calls for service. We're still averaging 1.1 call per hour of the day. For the year, we had 589 traffic citations issued and 94 ordinance citation issued. And that's a grand total of 683 total citations that the police department has issued so far this year. We've also, in the last couple weeks, have had a couple of in-depth investigations involving things that I'd rather not talk about publicly, and juveniles. And so we are not the big city, but we do get some pretty cruddy calls that we do have to spend lots of time investigating, that do take away from our other duties, because we are a small agency, and those things are really, really important when they happen to you and your family. So we need to investigate them properly and do our due diligence. And sometimes you might not see a car running radar the way we normally try to do, or making a stop, or getting where we need to be, because we do have those things happen, unfortunately. Anything else? Yeah.
Thank you to you and your officers for doing the job that you are doing, and it is appreciated.
And I can speak for every single one of our full-time officers and our part-time. They really do care about the job. They care about you people as citizens, and they really try and put their best foot forward. And I see that day in and day out with the work product that they do and the suggestions that they bring forward to try and make things better.
Can you speak to your background in boat patrol type activities?
Yes. Back in 1992, I was hired by the Town of Delavan Police Department as a boat patrol officer. As I progressed through that agency for the 5 years I was there, the last 3, I was in charge of the police boat. I ran the police boat on Delavan Lake until I got hired by the sheriff's office in 97. In 97, sheriff's department at the time didn't have boat patrol. A few years later, they ended up doing a boat patrol with 2 wave runners. They'd send out 2 deputies on wave runners to do patrols on the different lakes, and I was part of that program. I was also part of the Walworth County dive team. Unfortunately, a number of years ago, I dove on Lake Beulah for a gentleman that committed suicide back in the 1930s, I believe it was, right off of Wilmer's Landing area. So I have some experience on the water with previous boat patrols and the DNR doing not only just boat patrol but also the snowmobile patrol and working with the DNR during the winter time. So.
I think it's important, especially with some of the concerns that have been brought up. I think it's important to know that we do have a good resource, and we are working right now to understand what type of options we have to deal with manpower. That's effectively what we're dealing with right now.
And Jason Roberts, who's kind of our local contact, I've known and worked with Jason for a number of years, and so has Deputy Chief Runge, and they've been more than helpful, returning phone calls right away, answering questions that we need, and that sort of thing. And I think that really came through when they were applying for their buoy permit and getting that process done. I think Jason was a little more attentive because of the relationship that we've been able to maintain through all these years.
Is Jason with the DNR?
Yeah, Jason is a supervisor for, I forgot his exact title, but he's
Recreation warden.
Yeah, he's a recreation warden. He kind of supervises and reviews permits and different things and signs off. So he's a good guy to have in your back pocket and on your side.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Tyson.
Yes, my report is in the packet. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, John.
I have a question. Is there any way that we can just add that into the consent agenda for the future?
Oh.
Why, I'm not sure why that needs to be separate.
Can we, Attorney Mills, we were gonna talk about some of that agenda stuff next meeting, so.
Put it on the agenda for
Yeah.
next month.
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay, Planning Commission report, Supervisor Reyes.
Yes, so the planning commission met last Wednesday, July 9th. I got an easy one for my first meeting on the planning commission. The property on County Road J, they're just looking for a clarification on the acreage on their conditional use. So it was essentially a one-line change to their conditional use. So the board was, the planning commission was in agreement with that change in order to facilitate a pending sale for that property. So in alignment with the planning commission's decision, I would make a motion to approve the conditional use amendment for PET 300001D as in David at West 1032 County Road J, Mukwonago, Jansen Real Estate Holdings LLC owner, Bob and Debbie Jansen, and Inconceivable Ventures LLC applicant, per the conditional use, the requested change meeting the conditional use requirements.
Second.
Second by Tyson. Any discussion?
I just would like to commend the people for coming forward and catching the dotting of the i's and crossing the t's. I know it's annoying, but I appreciate your diligence.
It also helps the prospective buyer.
Probably,
Yes.
but.
Anyway,
Yes.
all in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, be recognized.
Yes.
Because the agenda has motion to approve or deny, I just want to confirm that it was a motion to approve the plan commission's recommendation to approve.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what she said last time. Yep.
that was it.
We're
Good.
gonna repeat the motion and vote
Jean's got it.
I didn't know,
I don't know that I already
Jim
talked
was
about
asking.
Yeah, he was just asking if I said approve or deny, and I did.
So, I don't have,
Okay,
sorry.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Nice shot, myself.
So now we have in unfinished business 2 items, A and B, which one of the items, the second item, is basically a summary of our meeting with Chief Gurecki, Deputy Chief Runge, Jason Roberts from the DNR actually came up to our facility here and sat with us on this meeting. I had LBMD's president, Pat Bergen, and Rick Stacy, who is the county rep there, and we all sat and talked about this, and I think it was 2 hours we talked about it. So anyway, so what I want to do is let me go to 9. I'm sorry. I have a few remarks. What I've tried to do is, since, let me just read my notes here. I want residents to know that while I could have pushed this wake vote issue to a vote and been done with it weeks ago, months ago, I made a conscious decision not to. I'm listening to the strong and diverse public opinions on this matter and am committed to helping the town navigate this complex and controversial issue in a thoughtful and inclusive way. At each town board meeting since my election, I've made it a priority to publish information to the public to foster greater understanding of the many variables involved. My goal is to understand not just the user concerns, but also the environmental impacts, the town's jurisdictional responsibilities, and any potential liabilities. This is not a simple issue. It carries far-reaching implications no matter which way we were to vote on this. As I have done in previous meetings, I've included additional information in the packet outlining the board's efforts to both act on immediate concerns and investigate more long-term questions. These efforts include addressing low-hanging fruit items in real time and pursuing deeper analysis of key issues. Following some experiences of questionable behavior by individuals on this topic, which has continued since my campaign, I have become highly selective about the sources I rely upon, seeking information only from individuals who approach this issue with reason, respect, common sense, and a willingness to follow data wherever it leads. Since the last meeting, I visited Lake Beulah twice. On my first visit, I spent over 3 hours touring the entire shoreline by boat. From my firsthand observation, I noted extensive riprap shoreline protection, which should significantly reduce any shoreline erosion risk. And we've provided more, I sent some more information over this weekend to President Bergen, Chairman Bergen, and about riprap. There's an exemption for riprap from DNR, so you don't need a permit. You as long as you follow the rules, you can put riprap up. So, I noted extensive riprap shoreline protection, which should significantly reduce shoreline erosion, and a noticeable lack of buoys at the 200-foot mark, except in Mill Lake, where there seems to be sufficient buoys. I also observed numerous diving platforms placed far from shore, some of which appear to obstruct boat traffic. On the second visit, I observed the operation of a 23-foot wake boat in a controlled setting. During the wake surf demonstration, we traveled at approximately 10 to 12 miles per hour in approximately 50 feet of water on Long Lake. The surfer was up on the board within 15 to 30 seconds. The wake produced was roughly 1 to 2 feet in both cavity and crest. Within about 50 feet of the boat, the wake had diminished to less than 8 inches, and it continued to diminish in size as it approached the shorelines. What troubled me most during my second outing was the behavior of a fishing boat that appeared to act with deliberate hostility. While the wake boat I was in was stationary, ballast tank filling and awaiting a surf demonstration, a fishing boat crossed the lake directly toward us, seemingly to interfere with our activity. I also saw photos being taken as if we were under surveillance. If this is what wake boaters are routinely experiencing on Lake Beulah, it's concerning and unacceptable. Harassment, regardless of one's position on this issue, has no place on our lakes. Based on this and my own experiences, I find it difficult to accept that wake-enhanced boating alone is solely responsible for shoreline or lake bottom damage when operated in proper water depths and distances from shore. For example, on a busy weekend at Potter's Lake, where I live, I've personally witnessed waves from wind and multiple ski boats that far exceed what I saw from this wake boat. When it comes to lake bed disturbance, the reality is that all powerful boats, ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats, wake boats, even maybe wave runners, they're all powerful watercraft. They require sufficient depth to operate responsibly. This reinforces the need for clearly designated zones on the lake for activities like skiing, wake surfing, and wave running. In the packet, you'll find a copy of the board's letter to the lake districts outlining practical suggestions for addressing resident concerns. I wanted to share that with you because in the past I've provided handouts on ordinances and constitutional requirements that we're obligated to uphold. Per Lake Beulah Management District report in the packet, they have started the process of adopting some of the recommendations to help mitigate the intensity of lake usage and improve conditions. And additional, now that we're approved on the buoys, that's even going to go farther. Hopefully this process can be accelerated to get some physical implementation on the lake yet this year. I also attended the June 23rd, 2025 Lake Beulah Management District meeting where a former Water Patrol leader commented that lake enforcement today is significantly under-resourced compared to decades past. The conservation focused on the urgent need for stronger lake patrol enforcement. To that end, I've initiated meetings with the police, the DNR, we've already spoken about the meeting, had a follow-up with Chief Gurecki as well on this, and we're working on developing some options of how we might address this labor shortage. And then that would be brought to the board for discussion and possible action. Closing thought. I remind you, I am still only one vote of 5 board members. This board will continue to approach this issue with transparency, diligence, and commitment to data-driven decision-making. I ask all residents to remain engaged, respectful, and open-minded as we work towards solutions that balance recreation, safety, and environmental stewardship on the lakes. And so, rather than go through the 2 attachments, there's a 5-page document in the packet, which is the letter that was sent to the districts. There's a 5-page exhibit that provides all of the Chapter 30 and town ordinance impacts on lake activity. And then there's some suggested boat communications with users as they come on the lake, maybe help improve their courtesy on the lake. So with that, and then I have a summary of my meeting with Chief Gurecki. I knew that would be important. I'm glad I did that because hopefully that gives you something more to understand what we're looking at. There's a couple of options that were discussed in there, and I think one of them are going to probably prove to be viable, okay? That's all I have for an update on those 2 items. Any questions? Okay, 9C, the organizational assessment RFPs. These are also in the packet. The only thing I'm going to offer comment on is, this is not in the budget for this year, but I think it's important to get the work done so that we can have data as we go into the budget year at the end of in October, November. So that's why I'm bringing this to the board at this point. It will have potential budget implications on 2026, so I think it's worth considering. I provided a comparison chart, which is right here, which compares both proposals. We had three RFQs go out. One came back and said, I don't have the staff, the proper staff to help with this. The other two did come back. I laid out the comparison chart so you can see quickly what each is providing on the two proposals received. One is a clear low bid, and their credentials are very strong, and the organization has personnel depth. When I looked at it, I see there's like 2 people in the other organization, and this one seems to have 5, 10, maybe 15 people. So I think we have a few motions that we're gonna have to deal with on this. Any questions before we go forward?
I'd just like to thank you for the organizational chart that you did on the 2 bids. It helped as I was taking notes and reading the material.
What I found, the reason why I did it is, what I found is both proposals didn't have all the information, so you had to actually go to the website to get some of it, so it just made it a little easier to understand.
I think as well, to your point regarding the budget, a lot of times when you engage with consultants like this, especially with the lower cost option, you can also write into the contract, like the consultants will identify cost reduction activities to even cover the cost of the work or more.
And that was mentioned, actually. I think they describe it in the proposal as low-hanging fruit opportunities that would not require any more of their time, but we could act on and maybe save money.
Exactly.
Hopefully we can recover the investment. That's the objective in that. And then hopefully there's longer-term suggestions that then we can consider as a board and maybe in the upcoming budget year. So we need to identify and approve possible 2025 funding sources to pay for the organizational assessment.
And let's assume do we first want to assume that it's the lower cost, that we are all in agreement that that was a more thorough proposal and obviously lower
Yeah,
cost?
that's number 2, but we can do that if you want to.
Well, I guess so we all know how much money we're trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I'm
So
for
then-
the smaller. Yeah.
So does someone want to make a motion, or want me to make a motion?
Yeah, make motion.
So, I'd like to make a motion to accept, the lower bid. We have one bid at $4,375, effectively the same number of trips, people involved. The second bid was $12,750. So I'm gonna make a motion to go forward with the Public Administrative Associates LLC bid, and approve, should I approve the,
For the amount, you should mention the amount.
I did $4,375.
Yeah.
Let's make a motion to approve the bid.
And then go.
And then
to
the
offer.
amount.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the Public Administrative Associates LLC bid for $4,375 to perform this organizational assessment.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say that Public Administration Associates are doing the EMS study between the town of Troy and the East Troy Area Emergency Services District. David Bridle, who is the partner and CEO, formerly was the administrator at Walworth County, and he had really made a conscious effort to get Walworth County's budget to a zero deficit. And I think that that shows real strength in his ability to make assessments on what we work with. So I like that choice. I can't believe there's that much of a difference, and I think that Public Administrative Associates also provided a better bid presentation than the other, than Innovative Public Advisors. I really liked what they had to present, and knowing their history, I agree that that's a good choice if we're gonna do this.
It's a pretty easy decision, right?
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah, let's make it before they change their mind.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So now I have to go to
Or funding.
funding. So, Clerk Buchanan, we found some money the last time we were doing a tractor or something. And I
We
wondered
borrowed.
if
We
there-
borrowed for that tractor, but
Well, it was 12,000 or something, that was,
for the tractor, it was 80,000.
Whatever. There was money.
A portion of it, yeah, was borrowed and a portion.
Right. So,
Anyway.
is there any? that you
Unless
want?
somebody gets recalled, there is extra money in the election budget. So there is about $4,000 some dollars in the election budget that could be with the budget amendment, and I have multiple ones that we'll have to address this year. But there is money in the election budget that can be used for this organizational
What's your
system.
feeling? You think elections, we gotta go through what? We don't have another election, right?
Well, unless, like I said, unless somebody decides to submit a recall petition, we don't.
Okay, so,
We have no fall elections.
and we're 3 months past April, so you would think
Yeah,
that recall.
and we just actually, within the last month, we got the final bill from county for the election. The only other thing from elections that I have coming up is we have maintenance this year. In odd numbered years, we have no fall elections. So the county with our, election equipment, the ice equipment, they come in, I had to take it to Elkhorn, they come in, they do maintenance on the machine, clean the well and replace all the internal batteries, and that's about $1,000. So we have money, after that $1,000, we have enough money
Okay.
for the 4,300 some.
So then, the, motion would be to do a budget amendment.
Correct.
Yeah. And there are multiple ones that I have to work on, so.
But for
Allocate
this,
funds.
to redirect or allocate funds from the election fund to this project.
Yes.
That would be the motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we draft a budget amendment to
Reallocate.
reallocate
We're not,
funds.
we have to authorize Jim to do the budget amendment, and that's not in the agenda. So you're just
Okay. Just
reallocating
Okay,
from elections to this project.
all right. I make a motion to reallocate $4,375 from the election funds to the organizational assessment, to be that was awarded to Public Administration Associates.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so then we have to do a authorization for Attorney Mills to.
In August.
Can't do it.
Can't do do it tonight, it's not
Oh,
noticed.
well, you have others you have to do. right?
Yes, I
So
have
we'll do that.
several,
Okay,
several.
so then,
I'll make a motion to authorize Chairman Jones to sign the contract with Public Administration Associates for $4,375.
Second.
discussion that I'll offer is Attorney Mills, you made some comments about having some discussions and negotiations. I will have those discussions.
Okay.
Before we just launch into a contract, make sure there's an understanding. Any other thoughts or concerns on this? Questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. So now we're on to new business. After a couple of issues where we had people moving things and all kinds of stuff in here, looking at the budget season coming up, knowing we just launched on servers 2 or 3 years ago, something like that, 2. The board members operate on their own computers. There's a lot of server-based storage and things. There's a lot of discussion topics around servers and our IT. And so I thought we could lump this all together and do some exploration. We have a local expert, Joe Johnner, that does a lot of IT and network work in his business. And I thought and I also want to engage, something I didn't say in here, I want to engage web administrator Olson, as well as the clerk and the deputy clerk, because of server issues and things like that. So this is purely an investigation effort, primarily identifying budget estimates where possible. And with Joe Johnner's software and network experience, I think he can have a pretty good impact on this as well. I don't know how much time this will take. I'm hoping it's not an extensive amount of time, but we're targeting to get this done so that we have some answers in the August-September timeframe. That's the big picture of what we're looking at. One of the other things that's been on my mind is digitizing old town records as well. It's sort of not related, but then it is kind of related. So that's why this is in here today. So I would like to make a motion to authorize Chairman Jones to work with the court clerk, web administrator Olson, as well as the clerk and the deputy clerk, and Supervisor Johnner, to investigate industrializing video sound equipment, improving sound system, and additional screen maybe in the town's meeting room.
Second.
Any discussion?
I like the idea of digitizing the town records as well. I was encouraged at the Lakeville Management District meeting that they've had some success with that.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a big project, but.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, before we got the Badger books, I had gone out for quotes for that, and it was about $6,000 at the time. So who knows what it would be.
For everything?
For digitizing and software that makes it all searchable.
Okay, so that's, but if we take it maybe
In
over
chunks.
Bite-sized
multiple
pieces,
years,
right.
it's just putting a plan in place, I think.
Yeah,
So,
but I think the important thing is having the searchable software, so that someone can go in and put in Beulah Heights Road and there it is.
Right.
Yep, I agree.
I agree.
It does.
It does.
It does sound reasonable.
I thought it would have a 0
Yeah, yeah.
after 6.
I thought so too. honestly.
But there's
So-
specifically for municipalities, they have software that does that.
And they know how many boxes you have down in the basement? When they did that quote?
Ms. Buchanan, is it a quote that you got through the Towns Association?
No, it was
or-
at the clerks conference, which is coming
Okay.
up in August, there are multiple vendors, and I had picked up stuff from different vendors. And
Thanks
they
for that proactive approach.
Would you do that again?
Absolutely.
Very good. So any other discussion?
No, I think it's vitally important. I know that the records that we keep downstairs in the basement are valuable. We can donate them to the Historical Society once we digitize them, but having something that's searchable and not gonna mold or wash away is important.
Public records request should be an awful lot easier. So, all right, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Yeah, I got a whole list that I'm gonna look through, all you told me, but, so now we're into the Booth Lake Memorial Park Intergovernmental Agreement. And Attorney Mills, I have added your edits into this document for myself.
Okay.
If there's any other edits that people have, we should talk about them and generally discuss this agreement. And Michelle, you've been on the Booth Lake Memorial Park Board for 2 or 3 years.
No, year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay, you're the expert.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, and actually, before I was reassigned to the planning commission, I already put my comments and edits into this agreement with Jerry Arnson. We've been working on it for a few months this year.
And you've seen your edits, so you're.
Yeah, they're included here. So I think it was just basically really updating the older agreement, trying to add some clarity, as far as, you know, separation of budgets and allocating the portions for each of the municipalities.
Couple of key points that Jerry had mentioned was, we do not want them to have authority without the municipalities of
Right.
borrowing money. That was
Exactly.
critical, so that's in here.
Yep.
The other thing is he wanted some discipline, so he said budget amendments are gonna have to be required for anything they want. They're not just gonna be able to send anything into the municipalities. So I think all good, positive.
Which is why we saw the amendments, was it last month or the
Yes.
month before, even though it didn't have a dollar impact, it was just
Correct.
getting more work done for the same money. So the municipalities had an awareness and of all of that, and it's documented.
And I like how this amendment defines what would happen if one municipality approved the budget and the other municipality, you know, out of the 3 didn't. So I think that it's important to be proactive about that rather than have a chaotic situation in the midst.
That was a discussion. It wasn't like this.
No,
So,
Bless you.
thank you.
bless you, yeah.
I heard that from one of the
Yeah.
members.
So,
Chairman, if I can be recognized.
yes.
Just for the public, what is in the packet that was online is not the contract that you'll be signing. It doesn't have the edits that we've been talking about in it.
Right, so it's gonna have to be recognized with edits.
Yes.
So my plan was to communicate this with edits to Jerry. effectively.
Yep, I just wanted that clarification.
Okay, no, that's good. So the
Are
motion.
the edits significant, or?
No edits in our packet?
No, I didn't have them ready by Monday. So, couple of things. On page, I numbered them 1 through 6, I looked at. So page 2, in the first paragraph, such bylaws is supposed to be lowercase.
Or put a period after park and start a new sentence. with
Well, that
such.
looks like how it's set up. So, it has a period there now.
What's online has a comma.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, there's a comma there.
And then at the end of that same paragraph, after apply, it should be a period instead of a comma.
Yeah, another column. That's all I had on this page.
Yep.
Page 3, I confirmed that December 1st, we're just gonna default to the prior year's budget. I think that's fair. Can't believe we would never approve it in time. So then on page 4.
Oh, if we can go back to 3.
Yep.
The first full paragraph that starts, if the 3 funding municipalities.
Yes.
One, they interchange municipality and community in here. I think that's what you're gonna speak to on page 4.
Correct.
I tried
But
to catch all of those.
the language that says, if the 3 funding municipalities do not adopt identical budgets, they won't be identical because one only contributes 20%. So that language has to be changed.
You're correct. Okay.
Maybe they could say do not adopt the proposed or
Proposed.
approved or.
I think proposed.
Or approved in their required percentage contribution or something along those lines.
Okay. And then, like you had said, page 4, paragraph 5, community about midway down, Troy and the village of East Troy, with each community is gonna be changed to municipality.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything more on 4, anybody else?
There's just spacing after the sentence, upon receipt of the bids. There's just extra.
Where's that?
It's the same paragraph,
Is that
paragraph 5.
mine here?
Oh, right here. Yes.
Well, that's capitalized, no?
I'm an engineer, I'm not an English major. So I appreciate the help.
Don't
So,
worry,
in
Chairman,
that-
this isn't really English.
So in that,
Legalese.
Yes.
Tim, if I could ask you to clarify that, upon receipt of the bids, we're gonna do lowercase the, that's the only change?
No, there's extra
Extra line.
extra spacing
Okay,
between the 2 sentences.
yeah, I see that,
I think if they hit a return or a backspace, it'll go away.
right.
That's why if we make it a smaller case T. Not that I'm a word processing expert either. Anything more on 4? Page 5. First paragraph, 2, 4, 6, 8 lines down, it says funding community. We're gonna call that a municipality again. What I didn't see, Attorney Mills, was where does it say I can just not approve the amendment?
If you go back, 5th line down from the top,
Yep.
we have to approve and accept. And then it says, it will not become effective until each municipality has approved.
Okay.
Would it still be identical if the percentages are different though?
Yes, because it's referring to the budget amendment,
Right.
Okay.
not the allocations.
So are we good?
I think so.
So then we need a motion to,
Approve the intergovernmental agreement between the town of East Troy, the town of Troy, and the village of East Troy regarding the Booth Lake Memorial Park expenses as amended.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. So, at
New business.
Supervisor Church, new business 10C.
In your packet, I presented a memo proposal for consideration of a public pier for fishing. I have heard, not just this year, but at least the last 2 years from boat launch people. I had Amanda Kusinek, and I'm sorry if I slaughtered the name, call, and her son had been wanting to fish on the pier. He was identified by a resident who notified the police that there was somebody fishing on the boat launch pier, and the police gently came down and explained to her son why that wasn't permitted. I do know from the boat launch people that last year somebody was fishing on that and their line got caught up in the prop, so I understand that. I also don't know, Jim, about the liability issue of allowing people to fish on the pier. But what I'm asking, based on, a couple of years of people questioning where they could fish on Lake Beulah, and the waters are supposed to be available to everybody, and yet if you don't have property, a pier, a boat, you can't rent a boat. Being a young person, there are nowhere for our young people to fish. And one of the reasons why fishing is so important is that they learn conservation, they learn ecology, they learn to love nature, and that often leads to career, their direction of a career choice. So I am asking to have the opportunity to speak with the DNR, the management district, Protect Lake Beulah, the yacht club, the fishing clubs in the area, to perhaps find a way that we could create a public space where somebody either from the shore or from a pier could engage in fishing. There are so many things that kids shouldn't be doing. This is definitely one of those things that I, as a teacher, would encourage my students to do. And I know my dad is up there, can't believe I'm saying it, but yeah, Dad, you were right. So that's why I approached the board. I didn't think it was appropriate for me to go to any of these organizations as a board member without permission to approach them for either their consideration or their collaboration in finding a way to maybe make the lake available to everybody and not just a few.
I'll make a motion to authorize Supervisor Church to investigate the positive or negatives around a public pier for fishing.
Second. Discussion.
Yes, so I have some comments tonight. First, I want to extend a sincere apology to Kim and Barb for my misunderstanding regarding an ordinance change a few years ago that granted all board members the authority to place topics on the agenda without chairman approval. On Thursday, I was under the impression, based on being repeatedly asked if I wanted items to remain on the agenda, that I had some discretion to request the delay or removal of items with appropriate reasoning. I now understand that an ordinance change a few years ago limited the clerk's and chairman's sole control over the agenda. With transparency in mind, I am in full support of this ordinance, ensuring equal access for all board members to bring items forward for discussion. The second item that came up on this discussion, I'd like to request that we revisit the intent and application of the ordinance amendments we adopted in May concerning the meeting agenda process. When we introduced the consent agenda, we discussed the importance of submitting memos for context and providing advance notice of agenda items. To my knowledge, all board members submitted their agenda topics and associated materials on Monday, July 7th. However, the agenda was not presented to me until Wednesday, and no additional supporting documentation was included. I believe these issues merit further discussions next month so that we can improve transparency and efficiency in our meeting preparation process. Regarding your authorization to investigate the potential for a public fishing pier, I respectfully do not support that effort at this time for the following reasons. Jurisdiction and statutory oversight. While I agree that a public fishing pier could be a meaningful amenity, particularly for youth, as you have expressed in your memo, I question why this matter is not being initiated by the Lake Beulah Management District, which has direct jurisdiction under Chapter 30 and 33 of Wisconsin statutes. Specifically, Statute 30.13 governs the establishment of public piers on inland lakes. As such, LBMD is the appropriate governing body to explore this issue. If town resources are needed, it should be LBMD that formally approaches the town for collaboration. Second, division of responsibility. LBMD is an independent taxing authority accountable under open meeting laws and responsible to its constituents, just as the town board is to ours. The town's role is to support, not duplicate, the efforts of lake districts. Given that lake-related issues are already consuming a significant portion of the board's time, I am concerned that our focus remains balanced and responsive to the needs of all 4,000 residents, not just those living on or near lakes. Third, ongoing litigation. The town is currently engaged in active litigation with LBMD. Until this matter is resolved and we begin to see meaningful implementation of LBMD-led initiatives, I am not comfortable introducing additional non-urgent lake-related projects at this time. Fourth, wake boat issue demands immediate attention. The town is under intense scrutiny and pressure from the PLB group regarding wake-enhanced boating. This issue is highly complex, requires considerable attention and effort from the board. Frankly, we do not have the bandwidth to take on another lake-related topic at this time. I have an alternate suggestion. Later, you're going to be presenting an ordinance pertaining to the Beulah Heights Culvert Project.
Yes.
I would prefer to use your capacity or extra capacity and sincerely appreciate your help on the Beulah Heights Culvert Project. If necessary, we can add this to next month's agenda to authorize your assistance. This project involves active citizen concerns and would benefit greatly from her attention, directing time and effort toward an issue with immediate and practical impacts for our residents. I do not want to say I am opposed to looking into this and doing it. I just want to make sure the right people are doing it. Lake Beulah Management has land as well, so they could put a pier off of their land if that's something. Chapter 30.13 allows that. So go ahead.
But in order for the Lake Beulah Management District to know about this problem, somebody needs to go to them. And I don't have permission from the board to approach them unless I get it from you guys first.
Okay.
So that's what I was trying to do with my proposal, was present you the reason why I am doing this, seek your permission to talk to other entities, and perhaps create a channel for there to be something that does open the lake up to other people. It's not that I was thinking that we would assume all the cost. I was trying to perhaps even go to the fishing clubs, being the park person, sort of involve some recreation and maybe negotiating with the fishing groups that maybe we could organize through the town an opportunity for some of the fishing clubs to take the youth out. I wasn't assuming that this was a project that was financially driven by the town. I needed to use this platform to create a channel of discussion.
Okay.
Are we really gonna put the kids to the side? I can't believe that was even said up here. I think Supervisor Church is asking for an opportunity to be a liaison between her son and the Lake Beulah Management District. That's what we are here for, this community. I can't believe that was even said. I call the question.
Is there any other comment?
I would love to see a public pier as much as everyone else up here. I definitely think it would be nice for the public to have access to Lake Beulah. However, I do somewhat agree that it should be up to the Lake Beulah Management District because it is their job to manage the Lake Beulah
Yes, but it was
Management
brought
District.
to the town board to
I
take to
understand.
them. That's
Yeah.
our responsibility.
Well, the citizen, I think, maybe we redirect them to the management district. That's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own thing, you know.
All right, there is a motion and second.
Dawn is here.
And the question is called,
Yes,
that
so
ends
you have to
discussion.
No one second.
Okay. So I
Yes,
guess
Bart.
we'll do a roll call vote.
John or Nay?
Ray's name.
Jones, nay.
Church, I
Leonard, I.
Okay, motion fails.
I think Todd Jones is here from the management district and is happy to work with our citizens.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Attorney's report, 11A, signed settlement release for police.
Yeah, this is regarding former Chief Jensen. We had a notice of claim that was filed all the way back in 2022. There's been ongoing discussion with the last proposal approved by the board in October of 2024 to agree upon a negotiated value of $5,345.50. That combines a number of different factors that were in play, including an overpayment for a health cost, stipend, public records fees, and it started with a notice of claim in the former chief having to hire counsel to address the allegations from one of the town's former officers that he is corrupt and was running a corrupt department. So, since the board already unanimously approved this dollar figure, we've been waiting for months to get a signed release back, and apparently there was some sort of falling out, I suppose, with the chief and the attorney, because after the town board approved it and we were waiting on the signed release, nothing happened until Chief Jensen walked into my office about 2 weeks ago with the signed release. So now that we have it, I think we can put this matter to bed. It releases the town of all liability, basically regarding his employment with the town, and any claims that he may have thought he had or thinks he might have in the future. So it's my recommendation that we go ahead and sign this release.
So I'll make a motion to authorize Chairman Jones to sign the settlement release for former Chief of Police Jensen's notice of claim.
Second.
Any discussion?
publicity body.
been far too long. Obviously,
It
a
precedes
minority
me.
of the board was here at the time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. 11B.
Yes, we have resolution 2025-7. It's Town of East Troy, 2025 amended proposal, or proposed borrowing request and authorization pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 67.12, sub 12. It reads, whereas the town board of the town of East Troy hereby finds and determines that it is necessary, desirable, and in the best interest of the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, hereinafter the town, to raise funds for public purposes, including borrow $35,000 for police department equipment, borrow $56,817 for a 2025 squad car purchase, borrow $185 for fire rescue expenditures as determined by the East Troy Area Emergency Services District. Next, borrow $60,000 for DPW equipment, including a brush mower and for a 3-point broom and pre-wet salting equipment. Borrow $299,743 for a 2025 snowplow. Borrow $85,000 for a tractor. Borrow $500,000 for new roads, St. Peter's Road from County Road ES to Town Line Road, and Honey Creek Road from Hams Road to Miller Road. Borrow $56,084 for old roads, that's seal coating from Deer Path to Ravine, Ravine to Beach Road, Horseshoe Lane to County Road J, Fairway Road to East Shore Road, and Brassy Road. Borrow $350,000 for Beulah Heights Road culvert repair, including tree work, potholes, and signs. And whereas the town board hereby finds and determines that funding the cost of the above listed items is within the town's power to undertake, and therefore serves a quote public purpose end quote, as that term is defined in section 67.04 sub 1 sub B of the Wisconsin statutes. Now therefore be it resolved, 1, that the town shall borrow the sum of $1,673,829 on the terms set in a 14-year loan instrument due no later than 14 years from the date the note is executed for the financing of the above referenced items, with said principal and interest to be levied as a direct annual irreplaceable tax upon all property in the town, and establish a debt service fund as required by section 67.11 of the Wisconsin statutes. Said note shall be with Citizens Bank. Said terms of the note shall include an interest rate of 5.5% and the date of installment payments. The note and amortization schedule shall be attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Prepayment of this loan is allowed. 2, for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on the note as the same becomes due, the full faith, credit, and resources of the town are hereby irrevocably pledged, and there is hereby levied upon all of the taxable property in the town a direct annual irrepealable tax in the years the loan is in existence. 3, so long as any principal of or interest on the note remains unpaid, the town shall be and continue without power to repeal such levy or obstruct the collection of said tax until all such payments have been made or provided for. After the issuance of the note, said tax shall be, from year to year, carried on to the tax roll of the town and collected in addition to all other taxes and in the same manner and at the same time as other taxes of the town for said years are collected. 4, there hereby is established in the treasury of the town, if one had not already been created, a debt service fund, separate and distinct from every other fund, which shall be maintained in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 67.11. Within the debt service fund, there is hereby established a separate and distinct account designated for the borrowed funds herein, and such account shall be maintained until the indebtedness evidenced by the note is fully paid or otherwise extinguished. 5. All prior resolutions, rules, or other actions of the town board, or any parts thereof in conflict with the provisions hereof shall be, and the same are hereby rescinded, insofar as the same may so conflict. In the event that any one or more provisions of this resolution shall, for any reason, be held to be illegal or invalid, such illegality or invalidity shall not affect any other provision hereof. 6, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption and approval in the manner provided by law, dated this 14th day of July, 2025.
It's not a ordinance, so
We don't need a second reading.
So, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2025 amended proposal borrowing request and authorization pursuant to Wisconsin statute 67.12 sub 12.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The last item is a draft temporary ordinance. I have stamped draft on the copy that should be signed because prior to final board approval, it needs to be submitted to the Department of Natural Resources for review. So tonight we are signing a draft if it's approved. And this is an ordinance to temporarily regulate boating upon Lake Beulah to allow for Beulah Heights Road culvert repair work and prescribing penalties for violations thereof. It reads, whereas the town of East Troy is preparing to reconstruct a culvert at Beulah Heights Road in the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, and whereas this ordinance is adopted pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, chapter 30, and whereas the town board finds that the regulations contained herein are in the interest of public health, safety, or welfare, including the public's interest in preserving the state's natural resources during the reconstruction of Beulah Heights Road culvert, and are consistent with the provisions of Wisconsin statutes, chapter 30, and whereas the town clerk has submitted this ordinance to the Department of Natural Resources for review at least 60 days prior to the town taking final action on the ordinance pursuant to the requirements of section 30.77 sub 3 sub D of the Wisconsin statutes. Now therefore, Town Board of the Town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, do hereby ordain as follows. Section 1, applicability, restrictions, and enforcement. A, applicability. An ordinance to temporarily regulate boating upon the waters of Lake Beulah in the vicinity of Beulah Heights Road culvert in the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, and prescribing penalties for violations thereof. B, restrictions. No person shall operate any type of boat within the water area which has been clearly marked by signs as a restricted use area pursuant to its Wisconsin statute section 30.74 sub 2. This area is defined as the entrances and exits of the passageway underneath Beulah Heights Road and the waters in the immediate vicinity of the reconstruction work within the construction footprint as identified for the purposes of the town's bridge reconstruction project that is scheduled to commence after Labor Day 2025. Said restriction is temporary and all travel in the restricted area referenced above will resume once the temporary restriction signs are removed. Signs will be placed according to plans approved by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation and on file with the town of East Troy or the project engineer, Lynch and Associates. C, enforcement. This ordinance shall be enforced by any law enforcement officer authorized to enforce the laws of the state of Wisconsin. Section 2, intent. The intent of this ordinance is to provide safe and healthful conditions for the enjoyment of aquatic recreation consistent with public rights and interests and the capability of the water resources during replacement of Beulah Heights Road culvert in the waters of Lake Beulah. Section 3, state boating and safety laws adopted. State boating laws as found in sections 30.50 to 30.71 of the Wisconsin statutes are adopted by reference, should be herein. Section 4, waterway sign placement, maintenance, buoy standards, and contracted services. A, placement of waterway markers. An approved waterway marker permit from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is required prior to any waterway marker placement per Wisconsin Administrative Code NR 5.09 sub 3. B, maintenance of waterway markers. The waterway marker permit applicant is responsible for the placement, maintenance, and upkeep of said waterway markers pursuant to NR Administrative Code NR 5.09 sub 4. C, waterway marker standards. Anyone placing any waterway marker signs or buoys shall conform to the rules and regulations of the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and to those found in the permit requirements itself. D, contracted services. Any and all waterway markers, buoys, or signs identified in this ordinance after an approved waterway marker permit from the WDNR has been issued may be placed and maintained by contracted services managed through the waterway marker permit applicant. In addition, the permit applicant may, at any time, change, amend, or terminate such agreement for any cost. Section 4, penalties. Wisconsin state boating penalties found in, should be a space there, in section 30.80 Wisconsin statutes, and deposits established in the uniform deposit and bail schedule established by the Wisconsin Judicial Conferences are hereby adopted by reference, and all references to fines amended to forfeitures and all references to imprisonment are deleted. Section 5, severability. The provisions of this ordinance shall be deemed severable, and it is expressly declared that the Town of East Troy Town Board would have passed the other provisions of this ordinance irrespective of whether or not one or more provisions may be declared valid. If any of the provisions of this ordinance, or if the application to any person or circumstance is held invalid, the remainder of the ordinance and the application of such provisions to other persons or circumstances shall not be affected. Section 6, duration of boating regulations. The restrictions will be in place during the entire construction duration of Beulah Heights Road culvert repair, anticipated to last up to 8 weeks and commencing after Labor Day 2025. Section 7, posting requirements. The Town of East Troy shall place and maintain a synopsis of this ordinance at all public access points within the jurisdiction of the Town of East Troy pursuant to the requirements of NR 5.15 of the Wisconsin Administrative Code. Section 8, sunset clause. This ordinance shall expire once completion of the project is done and all signage regarding the travel restriction in the vicinity of and under Beulah Heights Road in the waters of Lake Beulah have been removed. Section 9, effective date. This ordinance will become effective upon its passage and publication as may be required by law after approval of the language of this temporary ordinance by review of the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Passes blank day of
whenever you're gonna pass it, 2025.
That'll be cleaned up and then I'll
Submit it to him.
Yeah, okay.
So approve with edits.
First, we have to waive the second reading.
I make a motion that we waive the second reading of resolution 2025-7, the town of East Troy 2025 amended proposed borrow.
No.
That's
No,
not,
no, no.
sorry,
Wrong.
sorry. I'll withdraw my motion. I need a second.
Second.
No one seconded the first.
Yeah.
No one,
So go
okay.
ahead.
All right, I would like to make an dang. I'd like to make a motion that we waive the second reading of ordinance number 2025-5, an ordinance to temporarily regulate boating upon Lake Beulah to allow for the Beulah Heights Road culvert repair work and prescribing penalties for violations thereof.
Second.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So, we're on to.
No, we
No.
still need a
Motion, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-5, lake restrictions to allow Beulah Heights Road culvert repair, approval with edits.
And pending DNR approval?
And
As a draft.
Yeah, the pending DNR approval is actually in the.
as,
ordinance itself.
as a draft, right?
Yes, as a draft.
As a draft, okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries now, I think. So we're on to special and pending meetings. Clerk, you can.
There's a Booth Lake Park meeting, park board meeting, July 16th at 6:30. July 31st, the second half of property taxes are due and payable to the Walworth County Treasurer and mailed to them, not to us. I've received too many in the mail. Yes, Ty?
July 24th, East Troy Emergency Services District at 5:30.
5:30?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, August 6th and 10th, planning commission meetings.
That should be the 20th, not the 10th.
What?
Should be the 6th and the 20th, not the 6th and the 10th.
10th? Oh,
It's every 2 weeks.
okay. August 11th is the next town board meeting, and September 1st, the town hall will be closed for Labor Day.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Oh, no, we've got more scheduled.
Oh.
Almost. I'm sorry, Mary?
What is left?
So we're gonna review bills for payment.
We have to schedule some special meetings, right?
Yes.
I have reached out to the police department's new union, and they will be sending me dates for union contract negotiations. And as soon as I get dates, I will pass them along to see about availability for everybody. As for budget workshops, we really can't set those yet until we get the union, or all contracts are settled. So we need to do contracts in August and start budget workshops in September. Now we can review bills for payment and return.
Oh, we can't, we don't, we're not setting contract?
I have to wait till I get dates from the union contract, and then I will send them to you.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
We can take care of bills after we close.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
All right.
we always do.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
To adjourn. So the next one is August 11th. We're gonna schedule
Thank you, it was nice.
Sorry about that.
Like I said, I'm waiting for dates from the union. Once I get dates from the union, then I can send them to them to set them up. We did, but they don't have specific dates yet.
Why can't it be scheduled for you the other contract.
If you're in
We
public,
will
you
do them all at the same
can,
time. Once we get the union done, then we do the other ones.
Okay.
although,
You're still up.
when I, right, when I typically recommend all of my clients, like, I'm on the chamber board, I don't wanna go chamber.
I have September wedding.
Anytime that we have like a chamber event where they wanna use a photo that includes a